Taraji. Hope. Esperance. Itemaini Nada Remedy.
Espoir.
Taraji.
Hi YouTube, welcome to my channel. My name is Taraji and today I'll be bringing something new for y'all, something a little bit different, something you don't get to see every day or any day in particular, I guess. So today I'll be talking about Bible Diaries. This topic is called Bible Diaries basically, and it focuses on Bible people and their characters and how it brings about different developments and different stages and different parts of the Bible and how it all comes together and just marinates itself perfectly the way God intends everything to be. So today's character will be the one and only. This woman is known for being loyal, noble. Like, let me just talk about her right now. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, believers and non-believers, gather as I talk about Ruth. Did it come up? On the board nicely. Okay, Ruth. Okay, so Ruth from the Bible is the 8th book in the Bible. Basically, in this book, it has 4 chapters, but it has 3 main characters, right? So we have Naomi, we have Ruth, and we have Boaz. All right, but there are other characters like Elimelech. Did I say that wrong? Don't butcher me for these names, please. I'm not gonna sit here and act as if I know all these names in the Bible. Milon, Shilon, yeah, those characters. Basically, I might not be saying these names wrong, but I feel like I am. So Elimelech is Naomi's husband, and then the 2 other names that I mentioned are Naomi's sons. So basically how the story begins in chapter 1, right? Chapter 1, we are introduced to there being famine in the land. So Elimelech brings his wife and children to the land of Moab, right? And in this land of Moab, they meet these 2 women, right? Ruth and Orpah. They meet these 2 women and the sons marry these 2 women and they're living life, you know. It is what it is, you married. But sadly, Naomi loses her husband and these 2 wives lose their husbands, aka Naomi's sons, right? So Naomi is so devastated. She feels that God has just left her, you know, bitter. So much so that she named herself Mara, which basically means bitter in the Israel language, which basically means bitter. She felt so devastated, you know, like she's left as an old widow woman and her only 2 sons died. So she felt so devastated, so she decided to go back to her homeland, but she knew that she couldn't take these daughters with her. Why? Because they were foreigners and they were also widows. So she gave them the freedom to go back to their mother's home, wherever they came from, just to go back, just to stay in Moab. She gave them the freedom, right? And they were like, no, we want to stay, we really do, we want to, you know. And she was like, no, my daughters, I got no sons, I got nothing to give y'all. Like, you'll come. No, I got nothing to give y'all. I was like, no. They turned persistent, like, we want to stay with you. But one thing led to another. We come to find out that Ruth is the more loyal one, more faithful, more loyal, as she's the one that actually stays with Naomi, and Orpah goes back to her home, Moab. She stays back in Moab. So Ruth travels with Naomi onto Israel, right? So Ruth travels with Naomi to Israel, and this is so nice because it quotes Ruth saying, wherever you go, I'll go, your people will be my people and your God will be my God. If that's not loyalty, tell me. Like, don't you want your friend to be like, I'll be by your side always, like, I stick by your side and we'll ride or die. Like, that's just so nice to say. That's just so nice to hear. So we get to see in the next chapter, in the next chapters, if Ruth is really as loyal as she seems to be in the first chapter. Chapter 2, we introduced to Boaz, right? Right. So basically, Naomi and Ruth enter this land, and they need to work. Like, girls gotta eat. Girls gotta eat a lot. Like, so Ruth decides to go out to work in the field of Boaz, which turns out to be Naomi's cousin. Boaz shows characteristics of generosity and nobility, and that is so good because he in some way, his character just leads him to look at Ruth and look at her character and just see it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like he just admires her character, just admires her as a person. And he tells her, like, don't worry, you can work on this field, because mind you, in this land, right, nobody messes around with the Moabites. Nobody wants Moabite, no. But he's like, no, mind you, he's like, no, you can work at this field, like, come here, take what you want, do this, da 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 da. Basically, he's telling homegirl, I'm gonna put you on. He's telling the homegirl, I'm gonna put you on. And I find it's like, okay, boys, okay, you got game, you got humility, you got generosity. That's good. That's really good. That's really good. So Ruth tells Naomi about Boaz, about this kind man that she finds in the field while she's working, and Naomi tells her, dun dun dun, that's our family redeemer. Family redeemer. Like, okay, for those who don't know, right, I just recently found this out, right? For those who don't know, family redeemer is basically like when not basically like as if it still happens. I don't know if it still happens. I'm not updated with every culture out there, but family redeemer is basically like a person that takes on the responsibility and the burdens of a widow and carries on their family lineage, their family tradition. He protects the family line. It's a cultural practice, I guess. It's a cultural practice, and by this I mean, like, let's say a woman's husband dies, she becomes a widow, right? And basically a family redeemer would be a person that marries the widow and just continues the bloodline, you know. It's somebody part of the male family, I guess, but just continues the bloodline, right? I just recently found this out. I'm like, damn, things were going on in the Bible. Things were going on back then. Let's sip it for now. That's basically the summary of chapter 2. So chapter 3 goes on to Ruth being aware of this, and she basically not leads on. No, she doesn't do that. She basically indicates to Boaz that she is available. So one day she goes onto the field at night while he was sleeping, and he was startled, and she was like, are you really gonna redeem our family? And then he's like, damn girl, like, He's basically like, okay, sure, right, yeah. And then he's like, you know what? The very next day, I'm gonna take you in front of everyone and I'm gonna marry you. Basically, I'm gonna redeem your family. Ladies, Ruth's loyalty to Naomi. He's taken aback, and he's like, and her nobility, right? And this nobility is described by the Proverb 31 woman. And for those who don't know, the Proverb 31 woman, it basically, I got it here right here, so I'm reading straight off a screen. My eyes are a little bit twitchy, but my eyes may divert from the camera, but my attention is still on you, so pay attention to me. All right. So a Proverb 31 woman is respected and resourceful with a strong work ethic. She brings honor to her husband, places her family first, and cares for the poor and needy. She is wise and doesn't live in fear. She's driven by her values. Should I say that again? Like, I don't think you heard me, because whether you're a Christian or not, whether you're a believer or not, whether you even believe in God, like, or not, you still want to find this character in every woman. Like, everybody wants a Proverb 31 woman around them. They want to be influenced by a Proverb 31 woman, because these are good characters, whether it's in the Bible, whether it's in your Quran, whether it's in your school books, whether it's in wherever it may be. A Proverb 31 woman is something that we find very valuable. And if you have a friend or daughter or a mother or an auntie that is like this, you find yourself drifting off to being somewhat like that person, because good always brings out good. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, all right? So that's a Proverb 31 woman. You heard that accent? Proverb 31 woman. Okay, so now we brought out of chapter 3 and into chapter 4. Chapter 4 tells us about this person that is more closer related to Naomi and is next in line as being a family redeemer. I mean, alright, like, this person is not important even. As soon as he heard Naomi was a Moabite, he was like, no. So I feel like when I was reading this part, when I was learning about this part, like just reading it, it kind of shows me how God can use like who you are to remove the people that are not necessary in your life. Let's say you find yourself being a hardworking person, right? So that could mean that you don't have time for most of things, because you mostly putting your work and your heart and your time and dedicating it into something valuable, something that's going to be valuable later on, right? So many people may see this as you being like you just feeling yourself and putting yourself first and just being a selfish person, and they can blame you for disrupting their relationship with you, and they may leave you, and you'll be there thinking, damn, I must be like, oh, my character, but really you never know. If God chooses to open your eyes right now and shows you like the people that shouldn't be in your life, you would cry. Not gonna lie, you're gonna cry, because it could be somebody so close to you, it could be somebody so distant, it could be a whole lot of people. And the people that he can open your eyes and be like, oh, this person needs to be in your life, this person needs to change you, this person needs to motivate you, you'll be like, like, really, this me and this person, no. But basically this line, we end up finding that this person is not important, at least not to Naomi, because after finding out she's a Moabite, he was like, no. And that is not even the issue, because we got our homeboy Boaz. So Boaz comes up and like, I was here first anyways. I was gonna redeem your family. I was gonna redeem the family lineage. So Boaz ends up marrying Ruth. This is like an alternative to the beginning of the Bible, where there was death and tragedy. Towards the end, we find joy and birth, as we get to see that Boaz and Ruth conceive a son, and it brings joy back to Naomi. Like, yeah, it brings joy back to Naomi, and she was no longer bitter, basically. And this is really fascinating, because I remember as a child, right, I used to be like, when service was starting, right, just before service started, just before the singing began, and it was just meditation time, right, I used to come early to church, so I had nothing else to do, and everybody else is just, getting into church and everything, and I'll be there. I'll open the book of Ruth. Why? Because it's like small, like the chapters are small, so it's fast to read, and I read it so many times, as a child right now, that I'm so motivated by the story. I mean, yeah, so if you take this book and you just put your name over there, right? Whatever your name may be, maybe boy's name, girl's name. I'm not gonna mention any names because there's just so much names. Just put your name as a title. Just put yourself in their perspective. This story, it doesn't mention a lot of like God doing anything or God saying gonna do something, but it's more or less of like, you know how as every day as human beings we go through some things that we feel that why is this happening to us, or this shouldn't be happening to us, or something like that, right? Same thing with the book of Ruth. Naomi was like, God just left me so bitter, when God never did that. God was preparing, he was making things happen, because we find out that the child that Ruth and Boaz had was the ancestor of King David, which is the lineage of Jesus the Messiah. Tell me this story is not interesting. Like, it just goes like that's why it's good to always be loyal to God. Like Ruth, loyalty, yes, always be loyal to God, even in the hard times, in the whatever times. Be loyal to God. He knows what he's doing. He's taking it one step at a time. Sometimes you won't even get to see what he's doing. Sometimes you will. Sometimes he'll bless you. Sometimes it's just sometimes. The good times and the hard times, praise God, thank God, love God, appreciate God. So that's just the story of Ruth. I just love this book so much. The story is tops. It's tops on tops on tops. Like, it's just on the top. So thank you for listening in this Bible diary as I talked about the woman Ruth. I feel like I did summarize what I had to summarize. At the same time, I was just jumping in waves. I'm a little bit nervous here. I'm a little bit nervous. But if you feel that there's anything I missed out, or anything I missed out in the book, or anything I did not explain properly, or anything that you were confused on, or any comments to add, or any stories you'd like me to talk about, or anything you just have a comment on, just leave it down there. You know, I might see it, I might not. Just kidding, I'll definitely see it. Alright, and that's a wrap. I was a little bit nervous here because this is my first Bible diaries, and I don't know how you're gonna take this, because the world is a whole lot controversial now. It's controversial. There's so much controversy basically now, and you don't get to see a lot of youngsters coming out and speaking about the word of God and sharing the love. And this is just something I'm doing to spread the love of God. So that's a wrap for today's video, and remember, love God, love modesty, and love you. And I love my hair too, girl, let me tell you something. My hair slays. My hair, it slays. My hair, I'm sorry, it moves. I'm sorry, it moves. My hair, it moves. Yeah, and if you want to know, and you know what, I'm not gonna gatekeep with y'all. I'm not. So if you really want to see some tutorials on my hair, some treatments, some hair products, just what I do to my hair, like on a daily, weekly, just what I do to my hair and how my hair comes out the way it is, I won't gatekeep to y'all. I won't gatekeep. Gatekeep is like when you prevent, right? I ain't gonna do that. I love y'all all. I love y'all. And if y'all want your hair to grow healthy and you want your hair to grow strong, I want that for y'all too. So just keep watching my videos and you will see your result. Maybe sooner or later I'll be posting something about my hair. Toodles.